As night gently stretches its velvet across the world, a soft hush settles over the mind. In this quiet hour, when the weight of the day slowly lifts, the imagination becomes a patient traveler, wandering into realms both known and unknowable. Tonight, we will step into a journey through time, not through the pages of textbooks or the clamor of museums, but along the hidden paths carved by civilizations whose achievements often seem to defy logic itself. There's a subtle thrill in contemplating human history in this way, a delicate tension between what we can see, measure, and prove, and the vast, quiet darkness of the things we cannot fully explain. It is in that tension that the mind begins to relax, like a body sinking into soft sheets, feeling safe even as it wanders. Consider for a moment the wonders of the ancient world that have survived for millennia. Monumental cities carved into cliffs, stone temples aligned perfectly with celestial movements, terracotta figures capturing life with astonishing precision, and massive constructions moved across impossible distances. These are feats that, in our modern understanding, often seem improbable, if not impossible. And yet, they exist, not in legends or myths, but in the stones, soil, and skies of our planet. Here, in these whispers of the past, there's a sense of calm, awe. The world hums softly beneath our awareness, reminding us of the enduring creativity and perseverance of those who came before. Some mysteries are simple, almost comforting, like the quiet ingenuity of a well-placed aqueduct or the rhythm of a city's layout. Others are more enigmatic, teasing the imagination. How did people without modern tools carve mountains into cities? How did they track stars with such precision without telescopes? How did entire civilizations vanish, leaving behind only silent monuments that continue to speak, yet never fully reveal their stories? These questions do not demand immediate answers. In fact, the gentle uncertainty is part of their allure. There is a rhythm to contemplating the unknown at night, a slow inhalation of wonder, a long exhalation of curiosity, a soft settling into thought without urgency. Tonight, we will move through landscapes that feel both familiar and alien. We will walk through sandstone canyons, feel the whisper of ocean winds, and ascend misty mountains where clouds hide the ruins of cities built in the sky. We will touch the surface of underwater mysteries, feel the weight of abandoned temples, and imagine civilizations whose voices have been silenced by time. And yet, these spaces are not frightening. They are quietly inviting, holding stories that linger in the mind like a gentle melody, coaxing the listener into a meditative state. Each culture we encounter will reveal a fragment of human ingenuity, a touch of the impossible, and a reminder of the delicate, unbroken thread that connects all of us to the past. It is important to pause here, to let the mind adjust to the pace of this exploration. This is not a journey of urgency or drama. The purpose is not to race toward conclusions, but to meander slowly through history, allowing each discovery to settle softly like evening dew. There is a subtle interplay between light and shadow, knowledge and mystery, that forms the heartbeat of this story. The light is what we can see, the stone, the sculpture, the remnants of irrigation systems, the clear traces of human hands shaping the world. The shadow is the unknown, the lost techniques, vanished languages, and unanswered questions that hover just beyond comprehension. Together, they create a tapestry that is as soothing as it is intriguing, a quiet invitation for the mind to drift while still remaining alert to marvel. As we begin, imagine yourself stepping into the desert, where sandstone cliffs rise like silent guardians of time. Hear the soft wind moving through narrow canyons. Feel the cool stone under your fingertips as you trace the outline of cities carved directly into living rock. Imagine the whispers of people long gone, whose knowledge of water, stone, and survival seems almost supernatural when viewed through our modern lens. Yet, there is no rush. We move slowly, letting the desert's hush settle over our consciousness. This is the rhythm that will carry us through the entire journey. calm, deliberate, immersive, and reflective. And so, we step forward together into a world where the impossible was made real by human hands. A world where stone sings and water remembers, where every shadow holds a question and every light reveals a quiet answer. This is a world that asks us not to solve its mysteries, but simply to witness them, to feel their weight, and to allow our thoughts to drift gently along the currents of time. Here, in the hush of the night, the line between fact and wonder softens, and the mind is free to wander through the marvels of civilizations that defy logic, inviting us into their timeless embrace. We begin our journey through the mysterious past in the dry, golden landscapes of Petra, a city carved entirely from the living rock of Jordan's sandstone mountains. The Nabateans, a people whose very name is whispered through the ages, remain shrouded in an almost mythical fog. They were master architects, skilled traders, and, perhaps most intriguingly, brilliant engineers. Yet, despite their remarkable achievements, so little is truly known about them. Their civilization rose to prominence over 2,000 years ago, thriving as a crossroads for trade, culture, and ideas in the heart of the ancient world. But it is their engineering marvels, precise, innovative, and seemingly ahead of their time, that have captured the imagination of historians, archaeologists, and dreamers alike. Imagine, if you will, walking through the narrow, winding gorge of the Sick, the main entrance to Petra. The walls of this natural canyon tower over you, streaked with hues of red, orange, and gold, their surfaces weathered by centuries of wind and time. As you reach the end of the passage, a moment of awe waits. Before you stands Al-Khazna, the treasury. It seems impossible that something so monumental was carved by hand, from top to bottom, in solid rock. Its facade, intricately detailed with motifs of classical architecture, hints at a knowledge of design far beyond what was common in that era. Yet this is just the beginning of Petra's many secrets. It is the Nabatean ingenuity in water management that truly defies our understanding. Water, in the arid deserts of the Middle East, is life itself, and the Nabateans, living in a region with sparse rainfall and no large rivers, developed a complex system of water collection and distribution that rivaled modern engineering feats. They built cisterns, dams, and an intricate network of channels to capture and store the precious rainwater that fell in the brief desert storms. The city of Petra was, in essence, a water engineering masterpiece, designed to sustain a thriving urban center despite its harsh surroundings. Some of these channels stretched for miles, snaking through the mountains, hidden in plain sight, yet functioning with such precision that they continue to mystify even modern engineers. The Nabateans' ability to manipulate water, especially in a landscape so unforgiving, suggests a deep understanding of hydrology, perhaps even surpassing that of some modern systems. But what makes their feats even more remarkable is the fact that they left no written records of these technologies. There are no manuals, no blueprints, no inscriptions to explain how they managed to design such sophisticated systems using rudimentary tools. In fact, much of what we know about their engineering comes from the city itself. The stone remains, the channels, the cisterns, and the aqueducts that still stand today, silent witnesses to a people whose knowledge seems to have vanished almost entirely. It is as if they built their world without ever leaving a map to show others how it was done. As we gaze upon Petra, one question lingers in the air like the desert heat. How did they know what to do? How did a people without the benefit of written science or formal education understand such complex principles of water distribution? Was there a lost tradition of knowledge passed down through generations? Or did the Nabateans rely on methods that have since been forgotten? There is no clear answer, and perhaps that is part of the allure. The mystery of Petra lies not just in its physical beauty, but in the way it forces us to confront the limits of our understanding. It asks us to wonder whether the ancient world was filled with forgotten geniuses whose wisdom and innovation vanished beneath the sands of time. But the Nabateans were not simply engineers. They were also great traders, and their city served as a vibrant crossroads for commerce between East and West. The very location of Petra, nestled along the trade routes connecting Arabia, Egypt, Syria, and beyond, was a testament to their strategic foresight. Yet their wealth and influence, which once spanned much of the ancient world, would eventually fade. In the 2nd century CE, the Romans annexed the Nabatean kingdom, and over time, Petra was abandoned, its secrets buried beneath layers of history. The mystery of the Nabateans is not just about their engineering feats or their trade networks. It is also about their disappearance. Why did such an advanced, thriving civilization fade into obscurity? What forces, be they natural, political, or cultural, led to their eventual decline? As we ponder these questions, we shift our gaze from the great stone facades of Petra to the quiet hills that surround it. The land here, though barren and desolate, seems to hold something in its silence. Perhaps it is a reminder that not all knowledge is meant to survive, that some wisdom is buried not in the ruins of a city, but in the passing of time itself. Yet even in its decay, Petra stands as a testament to human achievement, to the unyielding desire to shape the world in ways that might seem impossible to us today. And so, we leave Petra behind, carrying with us the hum of unanswered questions, the sense of wonder that comes from contemplating a culture whose ingenuity continues to elude our grasp. As we travel from this lost city, we cannot help but wonder about the other ancient cultures that, like the Nabateans, built their empires with knowledge that was either lost or buried beneath the sands of time. For if Petra teaches us anything, it is that even in the harshest conditions, human creativity and determination can carve out something magnificent. Yet the true beauty of Petra, like so many ancient sites, lies not just in its physical grandeur, but in the mystery it leaves behind, an invitation to consider that perhaps, as much as we know, there is always more to discover, just beyond the horizon. As we move forward in our exploration, the question echoes in the mind: how many other lost civilizations, with their incredible achievements, remain hidden from view, waiting for us to uncover their secrets? The mystery of the Nabateans may be just one piece in a much larger puzzle, one that spans continents and millennia. And as we journey onward, we may find that the more we learn, the more we are reminded of how much still lies beyond our understanding. Now, let us shift our gaze from the windswept deserts of Petra to a faraway island in the Mediterranean, an island where time seems to slow down, as if the very stones themselves hold secrets that no modern mind can fully unravel. Malta, with its sun-bleached cliffs and clear, turquoise waters, holds a treasure trove of ancient wonders that continue to intrigue and mystify. On this small island, you will find temples older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Giza, built by a culture that left behind no written records, no grand chronicles, no clear explanation for the precise techniques used to build these incredible structures. The megalithic temples of Malta stand as silent giants against the backdrop of the Mediterranean sky, built from massive stones, some weighing several tons, that were transported across the island and carefully stacked to form complex structures. These temples, such as Hagar Kim and Najdra, are masterpieces of ancient engineering, their intricacy and alignment with celestial bodies revealing a level of knowledge that modern archaeologists can only begin to comprehend. Yet, despite their grandeur, the question remains: who were these builders, and how did they achieve such feats without the advanced tools and technology we take for granted today? The temples of Malta are not simply impressive because of their size, but because of the way they were constructed. The sheer effort required to quarry and transport the massive stones is staggering. The largest of these stones, some as large as 20 tons, were brought to the temple sites without the aid of cranes or machinery. The builders of Malta did not leave behind any records explaining how they accomplished this, but the precision with which they worked the stones suggests an intimate knowledge of engineering, mechanics, and perhaps even astronomy. Some scholars speculate that they may have used a form of levers and ropes, or that they possessed a highly developed understanding of weight distribution and leverage. Yet, despite these theories, the methods used remain elusive, lost to time. What truly sets the Maltese temples apart, however, is their alignment with the cosmos. The temples are not merely constructed in a haphazard way. They are built with remarkable precision, aligned to the sun, the moon, and the stars. The entrance of the temple at Najdra, for example, aligns perfectly with the rising sun during the equinoxes, while the temple at Hagar Kim is positioned to capture the first rays of the sun during the winter solstice. This celestial alignment suggests that the people of Malta had an advanced understanding of the movements of the heavens. How they achieved this, without the use of telescopes or sophisticated instruments, remains a mystery. Could they have been guided by a deep, intuitive understanding of a natural world? Or did they possess knowledge passed down through generations, lost to us but encoded in the very structure of their temples? The mystery deepens when we consider the purpose of these temples. Unlike other ancient structures, such as pyramids or tombs, which are often associated with the afterlife or rulers, the temples of Malta appear to have had a more spiritual or ceremonial function. They are believed to have been places of worship, where rituals were performed to honor the gods, the sun, and the natural cycles of life. But why such large and complex temples were necessary for these purposes is unclear. Were they centers of pilgrimage, attracting people from across the Mediterranean? Or were they part of a sophisticated religious system that sought to harness the power of the cosmos for the benefit of the community? Adding to the mystery is the fact that these temples were abandoned long before the arrival of the Phoenicians or the Romans, who later made their mark on the island. The reasons for this abandonment remain unclear. Some researchers believe that environmental changes, such as soil degradation or climatic shifts, may have contributed to the decline of the Maltese civilization. Others suggest that a shift in religious practices or a change in political power may have led to the abandonment of the temples. However, no conclusive evidence has been found to explain why these remarkable structures were left behind, gradually eroded by time and forgotten by all but the most devoted historians. As we wander through the ruins of these ancient temples, there's a palpable sense of wonder and mystery in the air. The stone walls, worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain, still echo with the whispers of those who once gathered here to celebrate the cycles of life. And yet, despite the quiet beauty of these ruins, there's also a lingering sadness. We are left with only fragments of a culture whose brilliance we can only begin to fathom, but whose legacy continues to captivate us with its unanswered questions. What knowledge was lost when these temples fell into disuse? Did the builders of Malta understand something that we, with all our modern technology, have forgotten? The alignment of the temples with the heavens suggests that the people of Malta possessed a profound connection to the cosmos, a relationship with the stars and the seasons that may have been far deeper and more intimate than we can appreciate today. As we look up at the sky above the temples, we are reminded that we, too, are part of this vast, interconnected universe. And in the silence of the temples, as the wind whispers through the ancient stones, we are left to wonder what secrets they hold, secrets that may never be fully revealed, but that continue to stir the imagination of those who seek to understand them. In the quiet beauty of these temples, we are confronted with a paradox. The more we discover about the ancient cultures that built them, the more we realize how much we do not know. The builders of Malta were masters of stone, of water, and of the heavens. They left behind structures that are still with us, standing resilient against the passage of time. Yet, they also left behind mysteries that have yet to be solved. Their knowledge, once so advanced, has been lost to history, and we can only gaze upon their creations with awe, knowing that there is still so much we have yet to understand. The temples of Malta are not just relics of a distant past. They're a reminder of the mysteries that still lie hidden beneath the surface of our world. They speak to the ingenuity of the people who created them, and they challenge us to look deeper into our own understanding of the past. As we leave this sacred island behind, we carry with us not only the memory of these incredible structures, but also the questions they raise. What other secrets might the ancient world be hiding? And what can we learn from the builders of Malta, whose knowledge of the world around them remains a source of fascination and wonder? From the sunlit stones of Malta, we travel across the vast expanse of Africa to the verdant lands of modern-day Nigeria, where a culture long buried in the mists of time quietly flourished. The Nok people, whose civilization thrived between roughly 1000 BCE and 300 CE, are remembered not for their cities or monumental architecture, but for the extraordinary terracotta sculptures they left behind. These figures, often life-sized or larger, possess a sophistication and attention to detail that astonishes scholars even today. The question that lingers in every mind that encounters these artifacts is simple yet profound. How could a society so early in technological development create works of such artistry, with proportions, expressions, and details that rival later, more advanced civilizations? Walking through the imagined landscapes of Nok territory, one can picture a society deeply connected to the earth and to their community. The terracotta figures are not merely decorative. They are imbued with meaning, possibly representing ancestors, spirits, or leaders of their time. Each piece, shaped by hand and carefully fired, captures not just a likeness, but a sense of presence, as if the figure could breathe and move at any moment. Some figures show intricate hairstyles, elaborate jewelry, and expressive facial features that suggest a level of cultural complexity previously unrecognized in a civilization that existed over 2,000 years ago. It is in these details that the mystery of the Nok becomes most compelling. How did a culture, without the benefit of metal tools advanced enough for fine sculpting, achieve such precision and artistic sophistication? The terracotta of the Nok is remarkable not only for its beauty, but also for its scale and durability. Many figures survive in remarkable condition, preserved for centuries in the soil, waiting to be unearthed by modern archaeologists. Unlike other ancient societies whose monumental structures dominate our imagination, the Nok people communicated their achievements primarily through these portable works of art. This shift from architectural to artistic mastery highlights a different kind of ingenuity, a civilization capable of creating beauty and meaning that transcends the functional necessities of survival. Each sculpture carries with it a silent story, a whisper of the past, and a testament to a people whose creativity seems to defy the timelines we expect of human development. The mystery deepens when we consider what is not known. The Nok civilization disappeared without leaving written records or a clear historical trail. Unlike the Egyptians, the Greeks, or the Romans who documented their accomplishments, the Nok remain elusive, their culture largely interpreted through the soil and the artifacts they abandoned. How did they organize their society? How did they pass down the skills necessary for creating these intricate sculptures? What prompted their sudden decline, leaving no monumental cities or inscriptions to guide our understanding? Each terracotta figure we uncover is both a revelation and a riddle, a tangible connection to people whose lives were rich, complex, and ultimately unknowable. The process of creating these sculptures also suggests a profound understanding of materials. The Nok worked with local clay, yet the firing techniques required to produce such durable and detailed figures indicate experimentation, trial and error, and accumulated knowledge passed down through generations. Some figures even show hollowed interiors, a technique that prevents cracking during firing, a sophisticated understanding for a people working in an era long before modern kills or scientific knowledge of materials. The precision and consistency in the sculptures hint at a cultural value placed not just on aesthetic beauty, but also on longevity and preservation, an awareness that their work was meant to endure long after their creators were gone. And endure it has, as these silent figures continue to captivate, puzzle, and inspire those who study them. There's also an intriguing link between Nok artistry and the broader technological achievements of their time. The Nok are credited with some of the earliest evidence of iron smelting in sub-Saharan Africa, a skill that suggests not only ingenuity, but also a sophisticated understanding of chemistry and metallurgy. This dual mastery, art and technology, paints a picture of a civilization that balanced practical survival with aesthetic and spiritual expression. The same hands that molded lifelike terracotta figures may have also shaped tools, weapons, and implements that allowed the Nok to thrive in their environment. Such versatility points to a society that was adaptable, creative, and deeply observant of both natural and human-made worlds. Yet, despite all we can infer from the artifacts, the Nok culture remains cloaked in mystery. We do not know how their society was structured, what rituals accompanied the creation of their art, or how they viewed the world around them. Were these figures part of religious ceremonies, used to communicate with ancestors, or simply expressions of artistic pride? Each possibility seems plausible, yet none can be confirmed. The ambiguity is part of the haunting charm of the Nok civilization. It invites us to imagine, to construct narratives in the mind, to drift gently through speculation while being tethered to the tangible beauty of the artifacts themselves. There is a rhythm to this meditation, a lullaby of curiosity, perfect for the quiet hours when questions weigh lightly and imagination is free to roam. As we contemplate these figures, it is difficult not to draw comparisons with other ancient cultures. Across the globe, societies that appeared disconnected by geography or time often produced works of astonishing skill and sophistication, each leaving behind enigmas that continue to intrigue modern observers. The terracotta of the Nok shares this silent dialogue with the stone temples of Malta or the rock-hewn city of Petra. There is a recurring motif in human history: societies, even in isolation, achieving feats of remarkable intelligence, creativity, and craftsmanship that leave future generations wondering how they were possible. This thread of mystery, woven into disparate corners of the world, forms a quiet hum beneath the noise of history, a melody that soothes even as it provokes awe. And so, as we leave the verdant plains of Nigeria and the terracotta figures behind, we carry with us the sensation of encountering a civilization both intimate and unfathomable. The Nok teach us that brilliance need not announce itself in grand monuments or written records. Sometimes, it whispers through the careful hands of artisans, lingering in clay, waiting for centuries to be rediscovered. The figures are not simply artifacts. They are a bridge across time, connecting the modern world with a past that refuses to be fully understood, a past that asks us not to solve it, but to witness it, to drift into its rhythm, and to marvel at the quiet ingenuity of humanity. In contemplating the Nok, we are reminded that the unknown is not a void to be feared, but a space to be explored gently, with patience and wonder. Their legacy, etched in clay and preserved through millennia, encourages us to see history not as a linear progression of knowledge, but as a landscape dotted with extraordinary peaks of creativity and craftsmanship, some of which may never be fully mapped. The Nok people, like so many ancient cultures, leave us with questions that softly echo in the mind, inviting reflection, imagination, and a sense of calm awe that carries us into the next chapter of our journey. From the warm, fertile lands of West Africa, we journey across oceans and mountains to the misty peaks of the Andes, where the clouds themselves seem to guard the secrets of an ancient people known as the Chachapoya. Often called the Cloud People, they thrived in northern Peru for centuries, building a civilization that seems almost impossibly adapted to one of the most challenging landscapes on Earth. Towering cliffs, steep valleys, and dense cloud forests define this region, a place where survival itself demands ingenuity, courage, and careful observation of the natural world. Against this backdrop, the Chachapoya created cities, fortresses, and burial sites that remain astonishing in both their scale and their inaccessibility. Imagine walking along a narrow mountain ridge, shrouded in mist, the clouds rolling like silent waves over the peaks. Suddenly, ahead, a stone structure emerges, perched precariously on the cliffside. These are the Chachapoya constructions, buildings that seem almost to float above the valley below, connected by terraced fields and hidden pathways. Among the most famous is Quilap, a massive stone fortress with high walls that enclose an entire city, complete with circular houses, communal spaces, and ceremonial areas. What makes Quilap and other Chachapoya sites so remarkable is not just their location, but the precision of their construction. Each stone fits seamlessly with its neighbors, without the use of mortar, yet the structures have withstood centuries of wind, rain, and earthquakes. The engineering skills required to build in such an unforgiving terrain remain astonishing, especially for a society that left no written records explaining its techniques. Water management was another hallmark of Chachapoya ingenuity. The mountains, while beautiful, posed a constant challenge in terms of access to fresh water. The Chachapoya carved channels, cisterns, and terraces into the mountainsides, capturing and distributing rainfall in ways that supported agriculture on steep, often treacherous slopes. They transformed a landscape that many would consider inhospitable into a thriving, productive environment. It is not difficult to imagine the effort required to transport stone, build terraces, and channel water across such uneven terrain, yet they achieved it with remarkable skill. This interplay between human determination and natural challenge creates a sense of awe, a quiet respect for a civilization that shaped its environment with patience, intelligence, and an almost poetic harmony with the land. The Chachapoya were also masters of funerary architecture, constructing cliffside mausoleums that seemed to defy gravity itself. The sarcophagi and burial chambers, often perched high above the valleys, are a testament to both technical skill and spiritual dedication. Each structure required careful planning, precise placement, and a sophisticated understanding of balance and materials. These tombs are not merely places to hold the dead. They are expressions of reverence, culture, and a desire to maintain a connection between the living and the departed. The effort invested in building these mausoleums, in locations so difficult to access, speaks volumes about the values of the Chachapoya and the weight they placed on ceremony, memory, and the afterlife. Despite the strength and complexity of their constructions, much of Chachapoya society remains a mystery. The Inca, who eventually conquered the region, recorded only fragments of their culture, leaving much of their history to be inferred from archaeology. What social structures govern their lives? How were decisions made to construct cities and fortresses in such challenging locations? How did they sustain themselves through the centuries without leaving detailed records? The answers are elusive, lingering in the stone walls, terraces, and burial sites, inviting modern explorers to contemplate the ingenuity and adaptability of a people long gone. The mystery is both tantalizing and soothing, allowing the mind to wander gently through conjecture without pressure for definitive answers. Quilap itself, the crown jewel of Chachapoya architecture, is an extraordinary example of the society's sophistication. The fortress covers an area of over 6 hectares, with walls up to 20 meters high in some places. Inside, circular stone houses line narrow passageways, creating a labyrinthine city that is both functional and enigmatic. Archaeologists suggest it served as a political and ceremonial center, a place where leaders and priests coordinated the affairs of the region. Yet the design also reflects a deep understanding of defense and community planning. Walls and gateways channel movement, terraces prevent erosion, and the city's location atop a ridge offers a strategic vantage point over the surrounding valleys. Every element seems intentional, yet the methods and rationale behind some of the architectural choices remain obscured by time. The Cloud people's relationship with the landscape was not solely practical. It was spiritual as well. The high-altitude cities and cliffside tombs suggest a culture deeply attuned to the cycles of nature, the movements of clouds, the direction of the sun, and the rhythms of rainfall. There is a lyrical quality to their constructions, a blending of functionality with aesthetic and spiritual intent. It is as if the mountains themselves were collaborators in the creation of a society perfectly adapted to its environment. This blend of practicality and spirituality echoes across other ancient civilizations, where architecture, astronomy, and ritual often intersected to create spaces that were both utilitarian and sacred. The eventual fate of the Chachapoya adds another layer to the mystery. Conquered by the Inca in the 15th century and later impacted by European colonization, much of their culture was assimilated or lost. Yet the stones, terraces, and tombs remain, silent witnesses to a people whose presence once dominated the clouds. These remnants allow us to imagine daily life. Children playing on terraces, farmers tending crops in precarious fields, and leaders orchestrating ceremonies at dawn and dusk. As we descend from the misty heights of the Andes, our journey takes us to the quiet depths of the sea, where time and water have conspired to conceal secrets from human eyes. Off the coast of Japan lies Yonaguni, a submerged formation that has intrigued divers, archaeologists, and dreamers alike for decades. At first glance, it appears as a natural rocky outcrop, a jagged terrain shaped by centuries of ocean currents and geological forces. But closer observation reveals terraces, steps, and linear formations that seem too precise, too deliberate, to be the work of nature alone. This is Yonaguni, a site that blurs the line between natural wonder and human achievement, inviting us into a mystery that is as deep as the water itself. Imagine drifting slowly through the gentle currents, the sunlight filtering down through the water, illuminating edges and corners that have remained untouched for millennia. The terraces rise like submerged pyramids, their angles remarkably straight, their surfaces smooth in a way that hints at intentional design. Some formations resemble roads or pathways, connecting different terraces in a manner that suggests planning and purpose. The more one explores, the more the question lingers in the mind. Could an advanced civilization have existed here, only to be claimed by the ocean over time? Or is this an extraordinary instance of nature shaping stone in a way that mirrors human constructs? Both possibilities are equally captivating, and the truth remains just out of reach, floating somewhere between certainty and imagination. One of the most remarkable aspects of Yonaguni is its scale. The largest terrace stretches for dozens of meters, while some steps and platforms rise more than 5 meters high. There are walls that appear to have been carved at right angles, as well as flat surfaces that could have served as foundations or ceremonial spaces. Some formations even suggest the presence of structures that may have been used for communal or religious purposes, though no definitive evidence confirms this. The contrast between what we can measure, dimensions, angles, and orientations, and what we cannot know, purpose, origin, or builders, is at the heart of Yonaguni's enigma. The site embodies a quiet tension, the kind that keeps the mind hovering between wonder and speculation, a perfect companion for the calm reflection of night. Scholars remain divided. Some argue that Yonaguni is a natural formation, shaped by earthquakes, erosion, and the slow but relentless push of geological forces. Others contend that the straight lines, sharp edges, and symmetry cannot be purely natural, suggesting that human hands played a role, perhaps thousands of years ago, long before written history emerged in the region. Yet even among those who support human involvement, the identity of the builders is unknown, their techniques unrecorded, their civilization lost beneath the waves. The ocean has swallowed them, leaving only stone formations as silent witnesses, tantalizing evidence of a story we may never fully understand. As we drift over the terraces, there is a sense of stillness that is both eerie and comforting. The water muffles sound, creating a suspended, almost sacred atmosphere. Fish swim lazily through crevices, and tiny particles drift in the sunlight, suspended like memories in time. Here, in this quiet blue world, the mind can roam freely, contemplating what might have been without the pressure to solve the mystery. This is the unique rhythm of submerged archaeology, a slow, meditative engagement with the unknown, where each observation deepens curiosity rather than demanding answers. Yanaguni invites us to embrace uncertainty, to let wonder float alongside fact, and to linger in the space between knowledge and imagination. The site also raises broader questions about ancient civilizations and their interactions with the natural world. If humans did indeed build at Yanaguni, how did they accomplish such precise constructions without advanced tools, underwater techniques, or modern engineering knowledge? How did they plan and execute these terraces and steps, anticipating the eventual rise of sea levels that would swallow their work? The answers are elusive, and perhaps that is part of the lesson. The site teaches us humility, reminding us that the world is far larger and older than our current understanding allows. Some mysteries are meant to stretch the imagination gently, allowing the mind to drift through possibilities while remaining rooted in a tranquil observation of what lies before us. Beyond the question of human involvement, Yanaguni also serves as a reminder of time's impermanence. The ocean has claimed this landscape, gradually reshaping it, erasing evidence, and leaving only fragments to inspire speculation. The formations we see today may once have been part of a larger network of structures, roads, or cities that are now hidden, just as countless civilizations on land have disappeared with the passage of centuries. There is a soft poetry in this idea. The human achievement, no matter how extraordinary, is ultimately at the mercy of nature, and that remnants of our efforts, stone, clay, or memory, may persist long after the rest has faded. As we rise from the ocean floor, leaving the terraces and steps behind, there's a lingering sense of awe and reflection. Yanaguni encourages us to consider the fragility and resilience of human endeavor, to contemplate the mysteries that lie beneath the surface of our world, both literal and metaphorical. It reminds us that knowledge can be lost, civilizations can vanish, and yet their echoes, whether in stone, water, or memory, continue to captivate, to provoke, and to inspire. The quiet hush of the underwater world mirrors the meditative quality of the night, a reminder that wonder can be found not just in what is known, but in what remains hidden, waiting for patient observation. And so, we leave the deep blue behind, carrying with us the soft resonance of mystery, the sensation of human hands touching stone, and the rhythm of currents that have preserved these secrets for millennia. Yanaguni is a testament to the interplay between nature and human ingenuity, a place where light and shadow, certainty and speculation dance together in perpetual quiet. It invites the mind to wander slowly, gently, allowing the imagination to drift across time and water, embracing the beauty of questions that may never be fully answered. As we prepare to emerge from this submerged world, we notice a subtle pattern emerging from the stories we have encountered. Across deserts, islands, mountains, and oceans, human societies have repeatedly achieved what seems impossible, leaving behind puzzles that linger in imagination. Each culture we visit adds a note to a quiet, unfolding melody of human ingenuity and mystery. Yanaguni is one of these notes, a submerged whisper in the ocean, part of a global chorus of ancient civilizations whose achievements challenge logic, defy expectation, and invite calm reflection. In the stillness that follows, we carry forward this gentle rhythm, poised to contemplate the broader patterns that connect these distant civilizations. The mysteries of Petra, Malta, the Nak, the Chachapoya, and now Yanaguni are not isolated anomalies. They are part of a continuous thread that runs through human history, linking ingenuity, curiosity, and resilience across continents and centuries. And it is this thread, subtle yet unbroken, that we follow as we move toward the next chapter, a quiet bridge connecting these wonders and preparing our minds to wander further into the enigmas of the ancient world. As we emerge from the silent depths of Yanaguni and let the sun's warmth wash over our thoughts, a pattern begins to reveal itself, a subtle, almost imperceptible thread weaving together the scattered wonders of the ancient world. Across deserts, islands, mountains, and oceans, we have seen civilizations that achieved feats far beyond what one might expect given their tools, resources, or circumstances. Petra's rock-carved city, Malta's megalithic temples, the terracotta artistry of the Nok, the cliffside cities of the Chachapoya, and Yanaguni's sunken terraces, all tell a story not merely of human survival, but of extraordinary ingenuity and vision. And yet, they all share a common element, a lingering mystery that refuses to be fully unraveled. This quiet reflection invites us to notice the patterns that emerge when we look across time and space. Many of these civilizations displayed advanced knowledge of engineering, astronomy, and spatial planning, despite existing independently and without apparent contact. The alignment of Malta's temples with the sun mirrors the celestial considerations of the Chachapoya, while the precise stonework in Petra resonates with techniques seen in distant, unconnected cultures. Across continents, a similar curiosity about the world emerges, an ability to observe, measure, and manipulate the environment with astonishing accuracy. Each culture, in its own way, demonstrates a sophisticated understanding that seems almost to predate the technologies we associate with such achievements. Yet alongside this brilliance lies another theme: impermanence. Civilizations that created wonders we still marvel at often left behind little else. The Nabateans' knowledge of water management is mostly silent in the stones of Petra. The Nok left terracotta figures, but no written records. The Chachapoya vanished into the cloud forests, leaving fortified cities as their sole testimony. Yanaguni may preserve the echoes of an entire society beneath the waves, yet we can only guess at the lives of those who shaped it. This contrast between enduring achievement and vanished knowledge, the known and the unknown, is a quiet motif of history, a rhythm that calls for reflection rather than immediate answers. It reminds us that even the greatest accomplishments can be ephemeral, that mastery does not always survive the tides of time, and that mystery is as enduring as the stone itself. There is a strange comfort in this realization. The unknown does not pressure us. It invites us to wander. It encourages the mind to explore possibilities, to drift through hypotheses, and to imagine lives and societies that were complex, vibrant, and deeply human. Each civilization becomes a kind of meditation, a slow and calming journey through ingenuity, wonder, and the silent beauty of unanswered questions. The more we encounter these echoes of human achievement, the more we sense a universal pattern. Creativity and curiosity flourish wherever people are willing to observe the world around them, experiment, and persevere, even when circumstances are harsh or resources are limited. This reflection also prepares us for the next steps of our journey. If there is a thread connecting these distant cultures, it is one of ingenuity, adaptation, and mystery, a quiet hum that vibrates beneath the surface of human history. Just as the Chachapoya carved their cities into clouds and Yanaguni remains submerged beneath the sea, countless other civilizations have left traces that hint at advanced understanding and creativity, yet resist full explanation. Recognizing this pattern allows us to approach the next civilizations with a gentle curiosity, attuned to both what is visible and what is hidden, to the interplay of light and shadow, knowledge and enigma. And so, as we pause in this quiet reflection, we are invited to see the ancient world not as a series of isolated marvels, but as a connected tapestry of human endeavor. Across landscapes, climates, and eras, a recurring motif emerges: civilizations achieving the extraordinary, leaving questions for future generations, and shaping the world in ways that continue to inspire awe. In this sense, the mysteries we have encountered are not obstacles to understanding, but doorways into imagination, allowing us to drift gently from one wonder to the next. The journey ahead will take us to islands of stone, vast cities, and civilizations whose names resonate even as their origins remain partly hidden. Yet the pattern remains constant. Wherever human ingenuity meets curiosity, remarkable achievements arise, often leaving only fragments, whispers, or echoes for those who follow. By noticing these connections, we begin to see the broader landscape of human history, a world shaped not only by what we know, but also by what remains a question, a puzzle, a soft whisper from the past inviting calm reflection and quiet awe. In embracing this rhythm, we prepare to move forward with a sense of continuity, following the thread of ingenuity and mystery that links the Nabateans, the Maltese temple builders, the Nok, the Chachapoya, and the submerged wonders of Yonaguni to the next extraordinary civilization awaiting us, the island of Rapa Nui, home to statues that seem to walk in a culture whose secrets continue to intrigue and delight. From the gentle hum of connections across continents, we now journey to the remote, windswept island of Rapa Nui, better known to the world as Easter Island, where colossal stone figures silently guard the secrets of a vanished civilization. Isolated in the vast Pacific Ocean, thousands of kilometers from the nearest inhabited land, Rapa Nui is a place where isolation seems almost to amplify mystery. Here, the Moai statues, towering stone sentinels, some over 10 meters tall, stand like guardians of time, their solemn faces turned inward toward the villages, yet forever enigmatic to the observer. These statues, carved from volcanic tuff, are a profound testament to human ambition and skill, and their existence prompts one of the most enduring questions in archaeology. How did a relatively small population produce such monumental works? And for what purpose? Walking across the rolling volcanic slopes of the island, the first sensation is one of scale and stillness. The Moai are scattered across the landscape in rows and platforms, known as ahu, each carefully positioned with precision. Some remain partially buried in the soil, hinting at the incredible number of statues that were transported across the island. To create them, the Rapa Nui people first quarried the stone from the volcanic crater of Reno Raraku, then carved each figure with meticulous attention to detail. But carving was only the beginning. These statues, often weighing tens of tons, were moved over rugged terrain without the benefit of wheels, large beasts of burden, or modern machinery. How such feats were accomplished remains a source of fascination, leading researchers to speculate, imagine, and sometimes marvel in quiet awe. What makes the Moai particularly intriguing is the subtle sophistication embedded in their construction. The figures are not identical. Each possesses unique characteristics, yet they adhere to consistent proportions that suggest a deep understanding of symmetry, aesthetics, and human form. Their features, elongated faces, prominent brows, and strikingly sculpted torsos, communicate authority, presence, and spiritual significance. The placement of the statues atop ceremonial platforms adds another layer of intention, hinting at complex social or religious systems. Each Moai seems to carry a story, a connection to ancestry, an enduring presence that bridges the gap between the past and the present. Yet, the greatest mystery may lie not only in the creation of the statues, but in their transportation across the island. Several theories have emerged over the years. Some suggest that they were laid horizontally on wooden sledges and dragged by large groups of people. Others propose that they were moved upright in a walking motion using ropes, rocking the statues forward with careful coordination. Experiments with modern teams have demonstrated that such methods could indeed work, though the process would have required extraordinary planning, collaboration, and physical endurance. Regardless of the method, it is clear that the Rapa Nui people achieved a level of logistical and engineering sophistication that belies the apparent simplicity of their society. Beyond the questions of construction, the Moai embody a spiritual and cultural mystery. Scholars generally agree that the statues were created to honor ancestors, linking the living community with the spiritual presence of their forebears. Yet the specifics of rituals, the organization of labor, and the symbolism encoded in each statue remain largely unknown. Some believe that the direction the statues face, mostly inland toward villages, reflects a protective role, watching over the community. Others see the Moai as markers of status and lineage, a tangible expression of power and reverence. What is certain is that the Moai were far more than decorative sculptures. They were embodiments of belief, culture, a social cohesion, standing as silent witnesses to human ambition and spiritual longing. The history of Rapa Nui is also a cautionary tale. The once thriving civilization faced severe ecological challenges, including deforestation and resource depletion, which contributed to social upheaval and the eventual decline of the island's population. Many of the Moai were toppled in periods of conflict, leaving only partial fragments as silent testimony to the struggles of the people who built them. This juxtaposition, the grandeur of human creativity alongside vulnerability to environmental pressures, adds a layer of poignant reflection to the story. The Moai, standing tall despite centuries of change, remind us that achievement and fragility often coexist, a quiet meditation on resilience, impermanence, and the consequences of human activity. As we walk among the statues, there is a profound sense of stillness that encourages introspection. The Moai are not only remarkable for their size and craftsmanship, they are a testament to the rhythm of communal effort, patient planning, and the human desire to leave a mark on the world. Each figure embodies the intangible qualities of vision, cooperation, and devotion that are common threads among the civilizations we have explored. From the windswept shores of Rapa Nui, our journey takes us across continents once again, this time to the fertile valleys and arid plateaus of Mesoamerica, where the Olmec civilization quietly flourished between approximately 1500 BCE and 400 BCE. Often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica, the Olmecs laid the foundations for many of the civilizations that followed, including the Maya and the Aztec. Their influence is visible in art, architecture, and religious practice, yet the Olmecs themselves remain shrouded in mystery. Unlike later civilizations with abundant written records, the Olmecs left no extensive texts, and much of what we know comes from archaeological artifacts, monumental stone sculptures, and enigmatic ceremonial sites. As we delve into their world, we are drawn into a narrative that balances what is known with the alluring unknown, inviting reflection and curiosity in equal measure. Picture the tropical lowlands of Veracruz and Tabasco, dense with jungle and veined with rivers that sustain life and shape the land. Here, the Olmecs established cities that were centers of trade, ritual, and governance. But it is their colossal stone heads that capture the imagination most vividly. These massive sculptures, some weighing up to 20 tons, portray human faces with distinctive features, elaborate headdresses, and expressions that convey both authority and serenity. Carved from basalt and transported from distant quarries, these heads demonstrate not only remarkable artistic skill, but also a sophisticated understanding of logistics and communal effort. How a society without wheeled vehicles, draft animals, or advanced machinery managed to move and erect these enormous stones remains one of history's enduring puzzles. The sheer scale and precision of the Olmec heads suggest a society capable of organized labor and complex planning. Each head required careful carving, from rough shaping to the fine detailing of facial features. This work would have demanded collaboration, patience, and a deep understanding of materials. Yet beyond their technical achievement, the heads hold symbolic significance. Some scholars propose that they represent rulers or elite figures, immortalizing individuals whose authority and influence shape their communities. Others see them as spiritual or religious icons, channels between the earthly and the divine. The truth may lie somewhere in between, and perhaps part of the Olmec's genius was the integration of political, social, and spiritual life into these remarkable sculptures. Beyond the heads, Olmec sites reveal sophisticated urban planning and ceremonial design. Large platforms, plazas, and drainage systems indicate an understanding of hydrology and civil engineering necessary for maintaining cities in a tropical environment prone to heavy rainfall and flooding. Artifacts such as intricately carved jade figurines, masks, and altars show a mastery of symbolism and aesthetics. Even the Olmec calendar and numerical systems hint at an early understanding of astronomy and mathematics. The juxtaposition of practical city planning with spiritual and artistic expression suggests a civilization deeply attuned to both the material and metaphysical worlds, a balance that resonates with the other ancient cultures we have explored. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Olmecs is the mystery surrounding their decline. Around 400 BCE, many Olmec centers were abandoned, and the civilization's political influence diminished. The reasons remain uncertain. Environmental changes, such as flooding or soil depletion, may have played a role, or internal social upheavals could have contributed. Yet even as their cities declined, the Olmec's cultural and technological innovations persisted, influencing successive Mesoamerican civilizations. In this, we see a pattern echoed across the ancient world. Even when societies fade or vanish, their ideas, artistry, and ingenuity endure, leaving subtle traces for future generations to discover and contemplate. The Olmec's spiritual and ritual life adds another layer of fascination. Their ceremonial centers, often aligned with rivers and cardinal points, suggest a deep understanding of natural cycles and an integration of astronomy into religious practice. Rituals likely involve the creation and veneration of monumental art, as well as activities intended to maintain balance between human society and the surrounding environment. These practices, while largely mysterious to us today, point to a civilization that valued harmony, symbolism, and the interconnectedness of life, a theme that resonates with the sacred architecture of the Chachapoya, the Moai of Rapa Nui, and the temples of Malta. In contemplating the Olmecs, we are struck by the contrast between what survives and what remains hidden. The colossal heads and jade artifacts are tangible and awe-inspiring, yet the written histories, daily lives, and inner philosophies of the Olmec people remain largely beyond our reach. This tension between visible achievement and invisible knowledge mirrors the patterns we have seen elsewhere in our journey. Civilizations capable of extraordinary creativity, leaving behind puzzles that continue to ignite curiosity centuries later. It is a rhythm of history that allows the mind to wander gently, embracing both understanding and uncertainty. The ingenuity of the Olmecs also challenges modern assumptions about technological and social development. The logistics required to carve, transport, and erect massive stones, along with the planning necessary for city layouts, indicate complex organizational systems. This is a society that achieved what might appear impossible without written instruction, large-scale machinery, or external guidance. Their accomplishments remind us that human creativity is not strictly linear, and that ingenuity can emerge under conditions that, at first glance, seem limiting. There is a meditative quality in recognizing this, an appreciation for the adaptability, determination, and problem-solving ability that lies at the heart of human endeavor. As we leave the tropical lowlands behind, the Olmecs impart lessons that resonate far beyond their time. From the lush valleys of Mesoamerica, our journey now carries us eastward to the vast plains and river systems of the Indian subcontinent, where the Indus Valley civilization once flourished in what is now modern Pakistan and northwest India. Emerging around 3,300 BCE and enduring for over a millennium, this civilization, often overshadowed by the fame of Egypt and Mesopotamia, was among the most advanced of its time. Cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro reveal an extraordinary level of urban planning, engineering, and social organization. Yet the people who built them remain largely silent to us. Unlike civilizations with extensive written records, the Indus script has yet to be fully deciphered, leaving us with clues in brick, stone, and artifact, but without the words of those who live there. Walking through the imagined streets of Mohenjo-daro, one can picture a bustling city alive with activity. Traders navigating wide, paved avenues, artisans shaping clay and stone, and communities centered around carefully organized neighborhoods. The city's layout is strikingly sophisticated, featuring a grid-like plan, fortified citadels, and raised platforms designed to withstand seasonal flooding. Homes were built with uniform baked bricks, many with private bathrooms and sophisticated drainage systems. an engineering feat unparalleled at that time. The level of urban standardization, including the use of consistent brick sizes, suggests a centralized authority capable of regulating construction and maintaining order. It is a remarkable example of planning and foresight, where practicality and foresight converge in a city that functioned smoothly over centuries. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Indus Valley civilization is its water management. The cities were built along rivers, yet the designers went far beyond simply locating settlements near water. They developed extensive networks of wells, reservoirs, and drains, demonstrating an understanding of public hygiene and urban sustainability. Mohenjo-Daro alone contains over 700 wells, providing clean water to its inhabitants and revealing a society that prioritized health and efficiency. These achievements are particularly striking when we consider the lack of written technical manuals or scientific records, suggesting that knowledge was transmitted orally or through hands-on apprenticeship, preserving sophisticated engineering skills across generations. Beyond practical engineering, the Indus people left behind artifacts that hint at cultural, spiritual, and artistic sophistication. Small statues, pottery, seals engraved with animals or mysterious symbols, and intricately carved beads reflect a society with a rich aesthetic sensibility and complex symbolic communication. Among the most intriguing are the steatite seals, often depicting animals or hybrid creatures, which may have had religious, administrative, or economic significance. The presence of standardized weights and measures suggests an advanced system of trade and regulation, connecting cities across hundreds of kilometers. Yet, despite these remarkable indicators of societal complexity, the civilization's language, political structures, and religious practices largely elude modern understanding, adding layers of quiet mystery to their achievements. The decline of the Indus Valley civilization adds another thread of enigma. By around 1900 BCE, many cities were abandoned and urban life collapsed, yet the exact causes remain uncertain. Some scholars point to climate change, including shifts in river courses, flooding, or prolonged droughts. Others suggest social upheaval, internal conflicts, or disruptions in trade networks may have contributed. Unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia, which left detailed chronicles, the Indus Valley speaks primarily through its stones, bricks, and artifacts, allowing us to glimpse only fragments of a once vibrant society. This tension between visible achievement and missing knowledge resonates with the patterns we have observed in other civilizations. Remarkable ingenuity paired with enduring questions, inviting the imagination to wander gently through possibilities. In considering the Indus Valley, one cannot ignore the subtle sophistication encoded in their urban spaces. The consistent orientation of streets, the placement of communal spaces, and the integration of water management systems reflect a culture attuned to order, balance, and functionality. There's a quiet elegance in this precision, a rhythm to the layout that mirrors the flow of life itself. These design choices were not random. They reveal a civilization that understood how environment, society, and infrastructure could harmonize, creating a sustainable urban environment long before modern urban planning became a discipline. The spiritual and symbolic life of the Indus people, while largely hidden, is glimpsed in their artifacts. Figurines, often of women or animals, suggest fertility cults or religious veneration, while the animal motifs on seals may indicate mythological or cosmological beliefs. The absence of monumental temples or tombs does not imply a lack of spirituality. Rather, it hints at a different expression of cultural values, one embedded in everyday life, craftsmanship, and urban design. The mystery of their beliefs deepens the sense of calm wonder, inviting reflection on how cultures choose to encode meaning and value in ways both visible and subtle. Another fascinating aspect of the Indus Valley civilization is its apparent egalitarianism. Unlike many contemporaneous civilizations, there is limited evidence of large royal tombs or palaces, suggesting a society that may have emphasized communal governance and relative social equality. The uniformity of homes, streets, and public infrastructure supports this idea, reflecting a balance between private and public life that is rare in ancient urban centers. It is a civilization that seems to have prioritized functionality, community, and harmony with the environment, leaving behind lessons in urban resilience, sustainability, and human ingenuity. As we leave the sun-baked streets and flowing canals of Mohenjo-Daro behind, the Indus Valley teaches us that greatness does not always shout. It can whisper through bricks, drains, and carefully carved seals. Its mysteries are not only in what we see, but also in what remains unknown: the language, the political structures, the spiritual narratives. Yet the artifacts themselves offer a meditative rhythm, a sequence of observation, reflection, and gentle curiosity that allows the mind to drift freely, contemplating the intelligence, artistry, and ingenuity of civilization that thrived over 4 millennia ago. In reflecting on the Indus Valley, we see the familiar pattern that threads through our journey: a society achieving extraordinary feats, leaving evidence that provokes both admiration and wonder, and inviting contemplation rather than immediate answers. Their cities, infrastructure, and artifacts provide a bridge across millennia, connecting us to a human story that, though partially obscured, resonates with intelligence, care, and ingenuity. Like the civilizations of Petra, Malta, the Nak, the Chachapoya, Yanagani, Rapa Nui, and the Olmecs, the Indus Valley civilization stands as a reminder that human creativity has always been capable of astonishing achievements, often leaving mysteries that encourage gentle reflection rather than hasty conclusions. As we reflect on the ancient cultures we've explored thus far, a fascinating pattern begins to emerge, one that transcends borders, time periods, and civilizations. From the grand, geometric precision of the Nazca lines to the cosmic sophistication of the Mayan calendar, there seems to be a common thread tying these diverse cultures together. Each of these ancient societies, though vastly different in geography and appearance, demonstrated a profound understanding of the cosmos, advanced mathematics, and architecture, often in ways that appear far beyond their era. Consider the ancient Egyptians, whose pyramids align with celestial bodies in ways that modern astronomy only now fully appreciates. Or the Sumerians, who created the first known writing system, documenting their knowledge of the stars and otherworldly beings. These civilizations, isolated by vast distances, often shared a deep fascination with the heavens and an understanding of time and space that seems eerily advanced for their time. This continuity of knowledge begs a question. Was there an exchange of ideas between these cultures that we have yet to fully uncover? Could it be that, despite the passage of time, there was a common source of wisdom that spread across the ancient world, linking cultures that we once thought were separate and disconnected? Historians and archaeologists continue to explore the idea of lost or forgotten networks of trade and communication, suggesting that ancient societies were far more interconnected than we once believed. Take the example of the ancient Indus Valley civilization. Despite its apparent isolation in the far reaches of South Asia, the evidence of its advanced urban planning, sophisticated drainage systems, and the mysterious script it left behind suggests a level of intellectual exchange that remains largely unrecognized. Some scholars believe that the Indus Valley people may have had contact with the Sumerians, given the similarities in their respective trade networks and the potential shared knowledge of astronomy and mathematics. These similarities, though subtle, point to the possibility that there were avenues of communication long before the development of written history as we understand it. Even the Olmec civilization, with its colossal heads and mysterious artistic symbolism, seems to embody this theme of forgotten wisdom. The Olmec people, who thrived in Mesoamerica centuries before the rise of the Maya, had a profound knowledge of astronomy, constructing observatories to track celestial movements with remarkable accuracy. How did such distant cultures, separated by vast oceans and separated by time, arrive at such similar understandings of the cosmos? Could there have been a shared cultural or spiritual framework that connected them? This continuity of cosmic knowledge isn't limited to the study of the heavens. Ancient cultures across the globe displayed a deep reverence for numbers, geometry, and architecture, often using these concepts to align their structures with the stars or to encode sacred meanings into their designs. The Great Pyramid of Giza, with its remarkable alignment to the cardinal points and its mathematical precision, is perhaps the most famous example of this. But similar examples can be found in ancient sites like Stonehenge in England, the temples of Angkor in Cambodia, and the sophisticated urban planning of the Inca in South America. In each case, these cultures seem to have been guided by the same fundamental desire to understand their place in the universe and to capture that understanding in their art, architecture, and daily lives. Whether through monuments, calendars, or religious rituals, these ancient peoples shared an intuitive grasp of the interconnectedness of life, the earth, and the cosmos, an understanding that continues to elude us today. The mystery of this shared knowledge is amplified by the fact that much of it has been lost to time. While fragments remain in the form of artifacts, monuments, and texts, the full extent of this cosmic wisdom remains largely hidden. The question, then, is not just how these cultures achieved such feats, but why they sought to align themselves with the stars in such precise and meaningful ways. Was it a desire to connect with the divine? A search for harmony between human civilization and the natural world? Or was there a deeper, more profound understanding of the universe that we are only beginning to grasp? As we close this section, we are left with more questions than answers. But that is precisely what makes this journey through history so captivating. The search for lost knowledge is not just a pursuit of facts. It is an invitation to explore the mysteries that transcend time, space, and culture. The ancient wisdom shared by these diverse civilizations, though often fragmented, beckons us to dive deeper, to reconsider what we know, and to embrace the possibility that there are hidden connections between us and the distant past. Perhaps, in our quest to understand these ancient cultures, we are also uncovering the mysteries of our own place in the cosmos. In the heart of the American Southwest, hidden among towering cliffs and arid landscapes, lies the mysterious legacy of the Anasazi, or the ancestral Puebloans. These ancient people were master builders, creating intricate dwellings carved into the very rocks of canyon walls and cliff faces. Their constructions were not only remarkable in their precision and artistry, but also in their harmony with the natural environment. Yet, despite the advanced nature of their culture, evident in their architecture, art, and agriculture, the Anasazi eventually vanished without a trace, leaving behind only their stunning cliff dwellings and a lingering question: what happened to them? The Anasazi thrived between 1000 and 1300 CE, occupying the Four Corners region, where the borders of Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah meet. Their most famous dwellings, like those at Cliff Palace in Colorado, are built into the steep walls of canyons, sometimes hundreds of feet above the valley floor. These structures, made of stone and mud, are a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of the Anasazi, who utilized natural resources to create homes that were both protective and strategically positioned. Yet, the mystery surrounding the Anasazi deepens when we examine their culture. Their societal structures were complex, with a focus on communal living and agricultural innovation. They mastered irrigation techniques, growing crops in an environment that is now known for its extreme dryness. Their pottery, jewelry, and murals suggest a rich and vibrant culture, one that had developed its own distinct artistic and religious practices. But for all their achievements, the ultimate fate of the Anasazi remains a puzzle. By the late 12th century, the Anasazi began to abandon their cliff dwellings. Whole villages, once bustling with life, were deserted. Archaeologists have unearthed evidence that suggests a gradual decline, but no single cause for their disappearance has been conclusively identified. Some experts point to prolonged droughts in the region, which would have made farming unsustainable. The evidence of droughts is compelling. Tree-ring data from the time show periods of extreme dryness, and many of the Anasazi's water sources would have dried up or become unreliable. But drought alone cannot fully explain the abruptness of their disappearance. Other theories suggest that environmental factors such as soil depletion or resource scarcity may have contributed. As the population grew, the land may have been overburdened by the demands of agriculture, leading to crop failures and social unrest. This could have fractured the Anasazi's ability to maintain their complex society. Yet, there is more to the story than mere environmental hardship. The most intriguing possibility involves the arrival of external pressures. The region surrounding the Anasazi was home to many other indigenous groups, some of whom may have had conflicting interests. The Hopi, Zuni, and other Puebloan peoples lived nearby, and while there is no definitive evidence of warfare, it's possible that the Anasazi faced conflict or raids from neighboring groups. The sudden abandonment of their most sacred sites suggests that something catastrophic might have occurred to force the people to leave. Another layer of mystery is added when we consider the Anasazi's spiritual beliefs. The cliff dwellings themselves suggest a deep reverence for the natural world and a strong connection to the spiritual realm. The Anasazi constructed kivas, ceremonial chambers used for religious rituals, at the center of their communities, sometimes building them directly into the rock. These kivas were places of great significance, used to honor ancestors and make offerings to the spirits. Their religious practices were deeply rooted in the belief that they were in harmony with the earth. But what happens when that harmony is disrupted? Did the Anasazi believe that they had lost their spiritual favor, prompting them to abandon their sacred sites in search of a new path? Furthermore, the ruins left behind show signs of rapid abandonment. Items like pottery, tools, and household goods were left behind, suggesting that the departure was not gradual or planned. Instead, it seemed almost sudden, an abrupt severing of ties with a place that had been home for generations. Could the Anasazi have experienced a sudden, catastrophic event? Some researchers have speculated that internal conflicts, environmental collapse, or even spiritual crisis may have led to an exodus of this scale. The mystery deepens further when we consider the ongoing silence surrounding their disappearance. The Anasazi left no written records, and their oral traditions, if they existed, have not survived the passage of time. All that remains are the ruins and the unanswered questions. Some theories even suggest that the Anasazi might have become part of a larger diaspora, blending with other Native American tribes, adopting new ways of life, and leaving their old culture behind. In modern times, some indigenous groups, particularly the Hopi, claim ancestral ties to the Anasazi. These traditions suggest that the Anasazi did not vanish in the conventional sense, but instead transformed, migrating and integrating with other tribes, carrying their knowledge and culture with them. Could the Anasazi be the spiritual and cultural ancestors of the contemporary Pueblo people? This idea invites us to think of their disappearance not as a loss, but as a transformation, a shift in the collective memory of their people. The legacy of the Anasazi, therefore, is not merely found in the ruins they left behind, but also in the continued mystery of their existence and disappearance. Their story speaks to the fragility of human civilization and the complexities of survival in a harsh environment. The unanswered questions about their decline serve as a reminder that the past is never as clear-cut as we might hope. Instead, it is a tapestry of human triumphs and tragedies, woven together by forces both seen and unseen. In the end, the fate of the Anasazi may never be fully understood. Whether they disappeared due to environmental factors, social unrest, or spiritual upheaval, their story remains a testament to the resilience and mystery of ancient cultures. The ruins of their cliff dwellings continue to draw curious visitors, who come to marvel at the ingenuity of a people whose secrets are still hidden beneath the desert sun. The Anasazi, in their disappearance, have left behind not just physical structures, but a legacy of questions that will endure for generations to come. In the blue waters of the Aegean Sea, nestled on the island of Crete, lies the fascinating and enigmatic legacy of the Minoans, a civilization whose story blurs the lines between myth and reality. Flourishing around 2000 to 1450 BCE, The Minoans were among the most advanced societies of the ancient world, known for their remarkable achievements in art, architecture, and trade. Yet, despite their extraordinary accomplishments, their disappearance remains one of history's most captivating mysteries. Was the fall of the Minoans simply the result of natural disaster, or could their downfall be tied to the mythical tale of Atlantis, a civilization lost to the ages? The Minoans are often celebrated for their complex urban planning, which included palatial centers, such as the Grand Palace of Knossos. These palaces were not just royal residences, but thriving centers of commerce, religion, and culture. The Minoans were pioneers in creating elaborate frescoes, many of which depicted scenes of daily life, nature, and religious rituals, reflecting a culture rich in symbolism and artistry. The Minoans also developed a written script known as linear, which remains largely undeciphered, further shrouding their civilization in mystery. The remains of their palaces, with their sweeping courtyards and advanced plumbing systems, reveal a society that was ahead of its time, enjoying prosperity and peace. However, as with many ancient civilizations, the Minoans' glory was not to last forever. The most widely accepted theory for their sudden decline centers on the catastrophic eruption of the Thera volcano, modern-day Santorini, around 1600 BCE. This eruption, one of the largest in recorded history, sent a massive ash cloud into the atmosphere, potentially darkening the skies for years and causing widespread climate disruption across the region. The eruption's effects on Crete would have been devastating. Tsunamis, fires, and earthquakes would have severely impacted the island, possibly destroying much of the Minoan infrastructure and causing the loss of life. Yet, there is more to the story than a natural disaster. While the eruption likely weakened the Minoans, some scholars believe that the real cause of their decline lay in internal strife or external invasion. After the eruption, the Minoans seemed to have recovered for a time, but their power gradually waned. The Mycenaeans, a Greek civilization from the mainland, began to rise in prominence and may have invaded Crete around 1450 BCE, taking control of the palaces and imposing their own culture over the Minoan society. The evidence of Mycenaean influence on the island, including the introduction of the linear B script, a descendant of Minoan writing, suggests that the Minoans were absorbed by their more warlike neighbors. The idea that the Minoans were the real-world counterpart to the mythical Atlantis is a theory that has intrigued historians and archaeologists for centuries. Atlantis, as described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, was a powerful, technologically advanced civilization that sank beneath the ocean in a cataclysmic event. Plato's account, written in the 4th century BCE, places Atlantis beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the Strait of Gibraltar, and describes it as a prosperous island kingdom that ultimately fell from grace due to its hubris. While many scholars dismiss the story as a work of fiction, the parallels between the Minoans and Plato's description of Atlantis are striking. The Minoans, like the legendary Atlantis, were an advanced maritime civilization with a wide-ranging influence over trade networks. The Minoan fleet controlled much of the Aegean Sea, and their trading routes stretched as far as Egypt and the Near East. The wealth and sophistication of their society, combined with the sudden and mysterious nature of their decline, make the comparison to Atlantis compelling. The Minoans, with their grand palaces and thriving culture, seem to fit the image of Plato's lost civilization, an island society that flourished only to be destroyed in an instant. Moreover, the Minoan eruption could be seen as a kind of flood, aligning with Plato's narrative of Atlantis sinking beneath the sea. While the eruption itself did not submerge the island, the aftermath, tsunamis, widespread destruction, and the disintegration of a once powerful civilization, echoes the fate of Atlantis as described by Plato. The idea that a great civilization could vanish suddenly, leaving behind only ruins and fragments of its culture, resonates deeply with the myth of Atlantis. Was the fall of the Minoans then a real-world parallel to the story Plato recounted? Yet, there are crucial differences between the Minoans and the Atlantis of legend. While Plato's Atlantis is described as a mighty empire that expanded over vast territories, the Minoans were not imperialistic in the same sense. Their power was primarily based on trade and cultural influence, not military conquest. Additionally, the Minoan civilization did not disappear overnight, but instead faded gradually, likely due to a combination of natural disasters, invasions, and internal decline. Still, the comparison remains tantalizing, and the idea that the Minoans were the inspiration for the Atlantis myth endures as a captivating theory. In the aftermath of the Minoan civilization's collapse, Crete was never again the dominant power it once was. The Mycenaeans, who took control of the island, eventually fell as well, their empire crumbling with the onset of the Greek Dark Ages. But the legacy of the Minoans continued to influence later cultures, particularly the Greeks, who revered the stories and myths surrounding the island. The archaeological site of Knossos, with its labyrinthine structure, became a symbol of the Minoan legacy, inspiring tales of the Minotaur and the labyrinth that have endured in Western culture to this day. The disappearance of the Minoans, whether through the eruption of Thera, invasion, or a combination of both, serves as a reminder of the fragility of even the most advanced civilizations. The Minoans, much like the fabled Atlantis, were a culture whose brilliance and prosperity were ultimately undone by forces beyond their control, be it natural disaster, warfare, or the passage of time. Their legacy, though shrouded in mystery, endures in the ruins they left behind and in the stories that continue to captivate our imaginations. Today, the mystery of the Minoans remains unresolved, and their fall serves as a cautionary tale of hubris, survival, and the forces of nature. Were they truly the inspiration for Plato's Atlantis, or were they merely another ancient civilization that suffered the ravages of time? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between, in the space where myth and history meet. What we do know is that the Minoans were a remarkable civilization whose contributions to art, architecture, and trade helped shape the ancient world. Though their story may be lost to time, their influence is still felt, and their mystery still lingers, waiting to be fully understood. As we conclude our journey through these extraordinary civilizations, we are left with a profound sense of wonder and curiosity. The ancient cultures we've explored, from the awe-inspiring structures of the Minoans to the mysterious disappearance of the Anasazi, invite us to question the very nature of human history and our place within it. These cultures, though long gone, have left us with more than just physical remnants. They have gifted us with enduring mysteries that continue to captivate our imagination. What we discover in the ruins of these lost societies is not just evidence of human ingenuity and achievement, but a reflection of the deeper questions that have always preoccupied our species. Where do we come from? What forces shaped our past? And why do they seem to elude our understanding? The civilizations we've studied were all driven by a similar desire to understand the world around them, to chart the stars, to build monuments that would stand the test of time, to find meaning in a vast and often uncertain universe. Yet, despite their accomplishments, much of their knowledge, wisdom, and cultural heritage remains just out of reach. As we delve into the ruins of ancient cities, we begin to see that the mysteries of these long-lost cultures are not isolated anomalies, but part of a much larger story. The persistence of these enigmas across different societies and time periods speaks to something deeper, perhaps a shared human experience, a universal longing to connect with the divine, the cosmos, and the mysteries of life itself. In many ways, the search for answers to these ancient puzzles is not just about uncovering the past, but about understanding ourselves in the present. How much of our own knowledge, our own culture, will one day fade into the sands of time, leaving only fragments behind for future generations to decipher? The fact that we still struggle to fully comprehend these ancient peoples speaks to the complexities of history itself. Just as modern archaeology and science have allowed us to peel back the layers of time, so too have they highlighted how much remains hidden, buried beneath the weight of centuries. The more we learn about these cultures, the more we realize that the history we know is often a fraction of a much larger story, a story still waiting to be told. Every new discovery, Every uncovered artifact only leads to more questions, suggesting that perhaps the true understanding of these cultures lies not in the facts we can collect, but in the mysteries we can never fully unravel. Yet, even as we acknowledge the limits of our knowledge, there is an undeniable beauty in the pursuit itself. The stories of the Minoans, the Anasazi, the Nazca, and other ancient peoples are not just tales of lost empires, but reflections of the resilience and creativity of the human spirit. These cultures may have vanished, but the mark they left on the world remains indelible. Whether it is the haunting ruins of their cities, the cryptic symbols they left behind, or the myths they wove into the fabric of their societies, their legacy continues to speak to us. In a way, these mysteries are timeless. They connect us to something greater than ourselves, a shared human history that transcends the boundaries of time and place. There's a certain magic in the unknown. It is the unknown that keeps us looking to the stars, that drives us to explore the depths of the oceans, that compels us to uncover what was once hidden. In the context of these ancient civilizations, is this very mystery that fuels our fascination with them. What were their beliefs? How do they see the world? What knowledge did they possess that we have since forgotten? These questions are not just academic. They are deeply personal. For in seeking to understand these ancient peoples, we are also searching for a deeper understanding of our own journey as humans. For some, the answers may never come. The ancient world is vast, and the gaps in our knowledge are likely to remain. But this does not diminish the value of the quest. The pursuit of these answers is part of what makes us human, the need to explore, to question, and to understand the forces that shaped us. Whether it is the story of the Minoans, the Anasazi, or any other lost civilization, each of these mysteries represents a facet of the human experience. Our desires, our fears, our triumphs, and our failures. In this light, the ancient civilizations we've studied are not so much lost to time, but are waiting to be rediscovered. Every new piece of evidence, every new theory brings us a little closer to understanding them, and perhaps, by extension, understanding ourselves. What these civilizations have left behind is not just the remnants of a lost world, but a mirror reflecting our own capacity for wonder, for imagination, and for resilience. And so, while we may never know all the answers, we can still marvel at the beauty and complexity of the mysteries that remain. As we close this chapter, we are reminded that history is not a fixed narrative, but a living, breathing story that continues to unfold. Each civilization we explore, each mystery we ponder, adds another layer to our understanding of the human journey. And though the answers may sometimes seem elusive, the search itself is what gives us meaning, connection, and a sense that we are all part of a much larger story, one that stretches back through time and reaches forward into the future. The ancient civilizations we've explored were not merely stepping stones in the progress of humanity, but entire worlds in their own right, with their own beliefs, dreams, and aspirations. As we look to the past, we are not just uncovering the secrets of long-lost cultures. We are also forging a deeper connection to the timeless human quest for knowledge. And perhaps, in the end, it is this search for meaning, this endless quest to unravel the mysteries of the past, that is the most enduring legacy of all. The mysteries of ancient civilizations are not just remnants of the past. They are reflections of our enduring human curiosity. From the lost cities hidden beneath the sands to the enigmatic symbols carved into stone, these puzzles represent more than just historical curiosities. They are windows into the vast and uncharted expanse of human experience. Every civilization we explore, every story we unearth, holds a mirror up to ourselves, urging us to question, to wonder, and to dream. At the heart of our fascination with these ancient cultures is the profound realization that, though separated by millennia, we share a fundamental desire, the need to understand our origins and our place in the world. Just as the Minoans painted their frescoes, the Anasazi carved their homes into cliffs, and the Nazca etched their geoglyphs into the earth, we, too, seek to leave a mark on the world, a trace of our existence that will endure long after we are gone. These ancient cultures may have vanished, but the desire for understanding that drove their innovation is something we still carry within us today. As we piece together the fragmented stories of these lost societies, we are not simply learning about the past. We are also engaging in an ongoing dialogue between generations. The past, with all its unanswered questions and unsolved mysteries, is not static. It is alive, breathing through the discoveries we make, through the interpretations we offer, and through the myths we continue to weave. Our understanding of history is constantly evolving, shaped by new technologies, new perspectives, and new questions. What was once believed to be a mere legend, the tale of Atlantis, for example, has in recent years gained new life through scientific exploration, suggesting that there is still much about the ancient world that remains hidden, waiting to be uncovered. In many ways, the pursuit of answers to these ancient mysteries mirrors the timeless human quest for knowledge and enlightenment. From the earliest civilizations to the modern age, humanity has sought to understand the forces that shape our lives, whether through religion, philosophy, science, or art. The search for answers is a thread that runs through all cultures, connecting the past to the present and the present to the future. Each generation adds its own layer of understanding, building upon the discoveries of those who came before. And while the answers to some of our greatest questions may remain elusive, the pursuit itself brings meaning and purpose, drawing us closer to the heart of what it means to be human. Perhaps it is the mystery itself that holds the greatest allure. The unknown is what drives us forward, urging us to look beyond what is immediately visible and to question what lies beneath the surface. Whether it is the mysteries of the pyramids, the strange alignments of ancient temples, or the cryptic symbols of lost languages, it is the enigma of these cultures that sparks our imaginations. They challenge us to think beyond the confines of our own time and to stretch our understanding of what is possible. In a way, the mystery of the ancient world serves as a mirror to our own uncertainties. Just as we, in the present day, face challenges and seek meaning in an increasingly complex world, so too did those ancient peoples. Their struggles, their triumphs, and their failures are not so different from our own. What makes these ancient cultures truly remarkable is their ability to transcend time. The things they built, the stories they told, the beliefs they held, they continue to resonate with us thousands of years later. The ruins of their cities stand as silent witnesses to their achievements and their mysteries. The art and artifacts they left behind are more than just relics. They are expressions of a human spirit, captured in stone, clay, and paint. And though these civilizations may have crumbled, their legacy endures, woven into the fabric of our collective memory. We are connected to them not just through the knowledge we gain from their remnants, but through the deep, shared human experience of wonder and discovery. As we reflect on the civilizations we've explored, it becomes clear that the desire for understanding is not a passing fancy. It is a fundamental aspect of our nature, ingrained in us as deeply as our need for food, shelter, and community. In every corner of the world, from the farthest reaches of the Amazon jungle to the sun-bleached deserts of Egypt, humanity has left behind clues to its existence, each one an invitation to explore, to question, and to learn. Whether we are deciphering ancient scripts, studying the remains of forgotten cities, or gazing at the stars that guided the ancestors of these cultures, we are engaged in a timeless act of discovery. The mysteries of the past are not just puzzles to be solved. They are pathways to understanding, leading us toward a deeper connection to ourselves, to each other, and to the world around us. In the end, the quest for understanding is not merely about finding answers, but about asking the right questions. It is about acknowledging the limits of our knowledge, while also embracing the wonder of the unknown. The ancient civilizations we've studied, whether the Minoans, the Anasazi, the Nazca, or others, remind us that the pursuit of knowledge is a journey, not a destination. It is a journey that transcends time and space, linking us with those who lived long before us and with those who will come after us. Their stories, their mysteries, and their legacies are woven into the larger tapestry of human history, a tapestry that is still being created today. As we close this chapter, we are left with the understanding that the mysteries of the ancient world are not just relics of a forgotten past. They are living, breathing parts of our collective consciousness, urging us to continue our search for meaning, for connection, and for understanding. In the silence of these ancient ruins, we hear the echo of our own questions, our own desires, and our own search for something greater than ourselves. And in that search, we are reminded that we, too, are part of the great story of humanity, one that stretches across time, unbroken and eternal.